Have you ever thought, there's got to be a better and simple way to learn organizational strategies? 5 Minutes Learning has a global and diverse collection of case studies to help management students. Click the subscribe button and hit the bell icon to stay updated with our upcoming and interesting case studies. Have you ever had a manager who seemed to make things worse instead of better? Or maybe you've been a manager yourself and wondered if what you're doing really makes a difference. Well, Google wondered the same thing, and they decided to find out once and for all. The result was Project Oxygen, a groundbreaking research project that aimed to determine whether managers really matter. Led by the PiLab team, which included co-founders and co-leads Donovan and Patel, and Kurkoski, this project was more than just a fun experiment. At Google, naming internal projects is a fun tradition, and Patel drew inspiration from a colleague who named his project after the X-Men. So, he started using project before the name and an element from the periodic table after it. But when it came to this research project, the team wanted a name that reflected the importance of good managers. That's when they chose the element oxygen, as having a good manager is essential, like breathing. Want to know more about the impact of Project Oxygen? Check out this video for the full case study. At first, the team looked at employee turnover data to see if management issues played a role, but the team wasn't content with just these findings. So, they did more research and compared high and low scoring managers based on employee ratings and performance reviews. And guess what? They found that even small differences in manager quality had a significant impact on job satisfaction, retention, and team performance. To dig deeper, they interviewed high and low scoring managers and identified 8 common behaviors among the high scoring ones. These included being a good coach, expressing interest in team members' success and well-being, helping with career development, and being a good communicator. Based on this research, the PiLab team concluded that good managers do matter. And here's the best part, the 8 identified behaviors provide actionable steps for all companies to improve their management practices. Let's talk more about Google's Project Oxygen. After completing 2 lists of manager behaviors, the team developed an action plan to support and develop managers more comprehensively. To implement the plan, the team modified the company's annual upward feedback survey to focus specifically on the 8 attributes of great managers. This personalized feedback represented the average of the scores from direct reports, including anonymous comments meant to be helpful. The team was careful to keep the survey separate from performance reviews, as Project Oxygen was always meant to be a developmental tool. They knew it would be critical to get buy-in from managers across the company, since commanding employees to do something doesn't work in the company's consensus-oriented culture. Therefore, they plan to socialize their findings through a combination of grassroots meetings with junior and mid-level managers and solicit sponsorship from senior executives. The team also presented the findings to various audiences, including engineering tech advisors, who shared the findings and best practices with their peers. The Project Oxygen team's efforts were received positively, with people latching on because it was Google data. The team's presentations not only included the list of attributes, but also described best practices to help managers improve. Overall, the project was meant to be a developmental tool, not a performance metric. The Project Oxygen team developed 2 surveys, the Upward Feedback Survey and the Tech Managers Survey, to measure the 8 identified attributes of effective managers. The surveys contained 16 statements spread across the attributes and were sent out to employees in 2010, with 2 follow-up surveys in 2011. Confidentiality was emphasized, and the surveys were meant to be a developmental tool, not a performance metric. The surveys were not mandatory, but the majority of employees completed them regularly, and the project gained momentum after being profiled in the New York Times. After completing the surveys, managers received online reports that showed numerical scores and comments for each question. The reports encouraged managers to share them with their teams and discuss areas of improvement. The reports referenced the Oxygen 8 attributes and provided additional information about each attribute. Feedback from the first set of reports was generally positive, with managers sometimes surprised by specific findings. The reports helped managers become more aware of areas for improvement, such as regularly scheduled one-on-one meetings and sharing the company's vision with their team. In 2010, Google's People Operations Group used the findings from Project Oxygen to create management training courses. Managers received specific suggestions based on their survey reports and were given access to panel discussions with high-scoring managers from each functional group. The courses were interactive and immediately actionable, offering detailed recommendations on how to deliver personalized feedback and creative vision statements. Google is now passionate about management development and has built a team of instructors, piloting online classes, so managers can participate from around the world. In 2011, they launched a 2-hour introductory course for new managers, as well as a manager flagship series covering key topics, such as feedback and managing change. People Operations also sent automated email reminders to new managers with recommendations, based on Oxygen findings and information about additional courses they could take. So finally, what did they discover? Well, the impact of Project Oxygen was immense. People Operations analyzed data from surveys and individual input, finding that median scores had risen from 83% to 88% favorable across all functions and levels of management. Low UFS scores inspired action from managers, such as Murat, who improved his ratings from 46% to 86% through communication and strategy changes. The relationship between UFS scores and performance reviews was found to have little correlation, and a formal mechanism to link the two was not implemented to avoid losing the impact of Project Oxygen. Strong management behavior is being promoted at a higher rate at Google, with 10% of directors promoted being winners of the Great Manager Award. So, the answer to the question of whether managers matter is a resounding yes. Effective management can make a significant difference to a company's success, and Project Oxygen has proven that. Stay tuned for more exciting case. Thank you so much for listening to this video. Do not forget to subscribe this YouTube channel for receiving updates about my upcoming case study videos.